Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to do a rear brake job on this 2008 Chevy Equinox. This is basically the same for any Equinox and the Pontiac Torrent of this generation. Tools you'll need are jack and jack stands, tire iron or a 19mm socket with a breaker bar to remove the lug nuts, a 5-pound sledge hammer that's kind of optional. Our vehicle had the aluminum wheels and they were somewhat stuck on. 14 and 15mm wrenches, a T30 Driver socket with a ratchet if you are planning on replacing the rotors, a ball peen hammer again for replacing the rotors, wire brush, large C-clamp, and a torque wrench.
If you don't have the benefit of air tools, you'll want to loosen the lug nuts while your vehicle is still on the ground, then raise and support the vehicle, remove the lug nuts and wheel and tire.
Fast forward as I remove those lug nuts. Okay, now you saw that I tried to hit it. What I did is put a lug nut back on and try kicking a little, seeing if that can break it free. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Okay, kicking it like that usually works, but if it doesn't, make sure you got a couple lug nuts on, a few turns, big hammer, and you want to make sure you hit the tire. You do not want to hit the rim at all. Okay, a couple good hits with that. Now you can kind of inspect the brakes. The pads are worn pretty low. These rotors are still pretty nice and smooth. Very low mileage vehicle, so they're in good shape. So for now we're just going to replace the pads, but I will show you how to take the rotor off and put it back on. And for the pads, there are 2 bolts. You want to loosen this bolt and remove this bolt. Bolts are 14mm, and they should come off with relatively a small wrench. Okay, for this top one, you either want to use a wrench or just having a small extension for your ratchet. It's always easy to put the wrench on, hook another wrench on there, gives you a little more leverage. Okay, nice and smooth. Okay. Pull out on this caliper a little bit, it just loosens it up. Remove this bolt down here, and the caliper just flips right up like that. Just use a regular flat blade screwdriver. Pry these pads right out. What you want to do next is there's just these little stainless steel slides. Pull those off and use a wire brush and clean them up really good, really well. Okay, so here's my slides all cleaned up. I just put a touch of anti-seize. You could use that or some white grease. Okay, and just push these back into place. Okay, always helps to just take a screwdriver, make sure you push these on nice and tight. And now if you were just changing the pads, you put the pads back on, but if you want to take this whole rotor off. Okay, in behind again, there are 2 more bolts. One here and one up there. These are 15 millimeter bolts. I'm going to use kind of the wrench method again. Just pull nice and easy until they come loose.
Okay, I'm just going to fast forward here. All I'm doing is working that wrench and removing those 15 millimeter bolts.
This is a T30 Torque screw right here. Okay, if it doesn't come right off, put your lug nuts back on with a few turns. You want to use the ball end of a ball peen hammer. You don't want to contact the rotor face. You want to hit it in the hub area. Once you see it moving, pull it right off. Okay, obviously reinstall the new one, put it on, and if the emergency brake doesn't feel a little bit tight, you can actually adjust the emergency brake right here. That can also be reached. Let's make sure here. You can also reach that adjuster by pulling out this plug and using a screwdriver to turn that adjuster. We'll put that back on. Put our bracket back in place. Put these bolts back in place. Just kind of move it around a little bit so you get the bolts started.
And fast forward again here as I work those wrenches. Like I said, you put that bracket down in place, push the bolts in, and then turn them clockwise to get them started. And then I'm just working with the wrenches to tighten them up preliminarily.
Okay, these should be tightened up to 75 or 80 foot-pounds. Lock my wrenches together again. Get them nice and tight. Now you want to force this piston back, this piston here back into the caliper. So what I generally do is take one of the old pads, put it right in there, big C-clamp. Okay. And then as you tighten the C-clamp, it pushes that piston back in. Next thing you want to check is these bolts should kind of slide back and forth very easily, so just make sure they do. Now, new pads from 1A Auto. You want to put the wear indicator, you want to make sure it's on the down side, on the inside. So put the pads in. Okay. Make sure they squeeze together. Put the caliper deck back down. You might have to push in on that side. These bolts can go back on. And these bolts should only be tightened to about 20 to 22 foot-pounds, which I generally just use a wrench like this. Get them tight. Okay, and pretty much just give them a good push with this small wrench. And that's usually pretty close. Okay, you see that this actually started spinning on me. I don't quite have the right wrench, so I'm just going to use a pair of pliers. Make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, last but not least, if you did take the rotor off and replace it, this little Allen bolt back in, or this little Torx bolt back in. Use a little brake parts cleaner or some mineral spirits. Just clean off the surface of the rotors.
Okay, and I'll speed it up here as I put the wheel and tire back on. First, thread the lug nuts on by hand, then tighten them preliminarily with the wrench before you put the vehicle on the ground.
Torque the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds using the star pattern.
Okay, last but certainly not least, make sure you pump up your brake pedal, get a good firm pedal, then do test stops from 5 and 10 miles an hour before road testing your vehicle. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.